Well, a bit of a good evening on the 18th of November. I really must try and get my clocks wound up. Used to be quite regular in doing all my clocks, but the one over there doesn't. I wound it up too tight and it's needing repaired. But yeah, anyone who tuned in to my latest video would have thought, what the fuck's wrong with him now? But sometimes you've got to say what you've got to say, because at the end of the day, it's well, that's the way it is. It is exactly the way it is. But I dare say that the impact of seasonal affective disorder has been pretty bad this year, actually, quite early too. Quite kind of compounded since I came back from Europe. It's been, well, as everyone knows, it's been very gloomy. And there's not much opportunity to do anything because it's pissing rain the whole time. And I've been quite busy anyway, but I just can't stand the gloom. So I'm off tomorrow. And I believe the Malta temperatures are sitting somewhere in the low 70s, low to mid 70s, so that will be okay. I checked it out, it said 15 to 17 degrees at night and up to 22 during the day. But just like the rest of the Northern Hemisphere, Malta does, well, it only has limited daylight. So the sun goes down about 6:30, I think it is now. But anyway, that's not a problem because there's always other things to do in the hotel. And at least I know my way about Malta. It's not new territory to me. And I'm looking forward to exploring a little bit more of Valletta this time. I might even hire a motor vehicle and do some tours down to the south of Ireland. It's not a very big island, but it's I've covered quite a bit of it already. And but it's good, and it's I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, stresses and strains of getting things done and getting ready when you're not feeling like fucking doing anything because of well, I think everyone's feeling the same just now. It's just like everyone I pass in the street or meet in a shop, they've got fucking very miserable faces at the moment, but I can understand why. It's very unfair for the people, but they've just got to get on with it. That's why I'm thinking up and down. I do concern myself with her because, well, first of all, I don't know if she's in good health. I'm concerned about her health, or welfare, or mental health, and just her general physical health. And I'm just concerned too that is she managing, and does she need anything, that sort of thing, And I know that she's been trying to offload a lot of her stocks and shares at the moment. I know that much. I don't think she's not having much success with them because that's the way she goes with her investments and stuff. But I had hoped that she would maybe call me and, or some sort of communication and say, would you like to meet up for some lunch? I think she likes me asking her first, but sometimes you've got to let the offer swing the other way for a change, because I don't want to be intruding in her private life, and also I'm not wanting to intrude when she's busy, with the brokers and the accountants and stuff, trying to sort out a financial meltdown after so many poor decisions in the financial markets, But also, I've got a sneaky suspicion she doesn't want to take me for lunch because she doesn't like the way I eat lettuce. And she mentioned, several times that, can't you cut your lettuce up a bit smaller instead of trying to ram it in your mouth the way you do? and coughing and spluttering. I said, I don't cough and splutter. And she says, you do so. I said, well, it's not the lettuce, it's the vinaigrette. So she didn't say anything about that. She sometimes coughs and splutters too when she's eating, especially if it's tomatoes. She doesn't cough and splutter if the tomatoes are sliced, but if they're cut at an angle, she seems to cough and splutter. But I do concern myself with her. I try not to, but that's the way it is. I just think to myself, is she content? Is she looking after herself? And is she, you know, is she okay? But, there won't be much I can do about it when I'm away, but I'll certainly give her a thought. I usually do anyway, regardless where I am. But I do miss, the dances that we used to have, and I think we were in Puerto Rico one time, and we spent a week in, in a very secluded hotel. It was in the jungle actually, but we had some fabulous nights, and there was jazz bands, and there was some of the local cuisine was on offer most nights, and there was lots of cha-cha and tango. If I remember correctly, we seemed to take to that very well. At least she did. She's a very good dancer, actually. I must say she is a very good dancer. And one thing I always remember with Up and Down, I could never forget it. When we used to visit the Fubar Palace, and it was a great jazz club, and it was, there was all types of, I think Up and Down used to go there for country and western, not country and western for goodness sake, Scottish country dancing. When she was a Scottish country dancing county champion, I believe. She was absolutely marvellous on her feet, and she seemed to know all the tunes to dance. The Dashing White Sergeant and the Gay Gordons and stuff. She was fabulous, and I danced many a time with her on these occasions, but certainly her favourite was the cha-cha or tango music, But at the Fubar Palace one night, I've never forgot it. In fact, I remember often when I think of Up and Down, just she had a very unique way of entering the dance floor. A solo entrance, and she was, I do remember that. I think she remembers me too, for my fine footwork to the jazz music that we used to listen to. These were such happy days. They were days certainly to remember, and to say you have to live in the moment, because these wonderful moments, just when they occur, they're not often up for repetition. You understand? They're only there for that moment and gone. But we've shared so many good times, and I do wish she was present. I do wish to see her smile. I want her to be happy. She says she used to enjoy coming to lunch with me, but she said that she would rather dine with the pigs in the pigsty than sit with me. And I thought, why would you say that Up and Down? She says, well, I just think you've lost a lot of your good manners when you eat, especially patty. and salmon. You don't eat it as as well as you used to. I said, well, nothing's changed. And she said, well, you look like a orangutan. I said, oh, up and down. You've just been, facetious for the sake of it, haven't you? And she said, no, I'm very observant about you eating, and you're an absolute embarrassment. And I wouldn't be seen at any luncheon venue with you. You're a disgrace at the table, scoffing your potatoes down and gravy and dew on your shirt, and you can't even get it on the napkin properly. It's just horrid. And I think what she meant was because I don't indulge in much shabbily these days. I think she finds I'm not very good company at luncheons, and she likes to sip away at her shabbily and chat. And because I'm so busy with my business, I don't really have much time for this sort of idle chit-chat and gossip. And she gets furious with me, absolutely furious when I say, oh, I'm not interested, up and down. It's just a small talk, it's nonsense. And she normally slams the cotton napkin on the table and marches off to the ladies' room and has a bit of a cry or something. I don't know what she does, but then she comes back and snatches her coat and handbag and off she trots and leaves me sitting like a fool amongst the rest of the diners. So I did say to her one time, I says, I'm sure all these episodes are entirely set up so that you have to avoid the paying any part of the bill when it arrives. And of course she didn't say anything much about it, but it did seem that I constantly having to pay for everything. And even the last time we were together, I said, would you like some fish and potatoes? And she said, well, it'd be a lovely idea, but is this necessary? You don't mind, do you? I said, of course I don't mind. Come on up and down, let's get some fish and potatoes. We had a marvellous time just nibbling on these fish and potatoes, and it was very much like a flower garden with beautiful shrubs, not far away from the carriageway, and we sat and munched away, and I couldn't eat it all, and she said, well, don't be silly, I love fish and potatoes, give me it, I'll eat it all up. I said, oh, you must be quite ravenous, up and down. She said, no, I'll take some home. If I can't eat it, the bloody cat will. And I thought, that's a marvellous idea, up and down. Absolutely marvellous idea. But, we had a very pleasant day that day. And I have very sweet memories of her just relaxing by the river. And she looked quite lost, as I recall. She looked quite distant, and I felt it was one of these occasions that, well, sometimes it's best not to intervene and let somebody just muse over their own thoughts. But I could certainly tell there was something terribly bothering her, something quite deep. I knew it all along, I just didn't want to say, but at the end of the wonderful day, I escorted her to her place, and I said, did you enjoy yourself today? And she says, oh, shut up, will you? Leave me alone and don't ever come back. I don't want to see you ever again. You're a horrible person. You're always saying nasty things to me, and I don't want to see you ever again. Have you got it? Well, get away and leave me alone. And I said, up and down, where on the earth has this all come from? This is very upsetting after a very pleasant day. What is going on in your mind? And she said, just get away and leave me alone. Just don't come back. I was really quite upset myself. I was quite astonished to find that my own drive home that evening was full of bewilderment. I think I stopped and I phoned up and down. I said, whatever's the matter, up and down, please tell me. But I knew from my intuition it was something very deep. And it wasn't the last time I saw up and down, but certainly the last time I enjoyed her company. And I don't know if there's a lot of emotion in the day itself, and the day started absolutely wondrous. It really was. It was fantastic. In fact, I do remember the night before we spent almost an hour in conversation on the telephone. And I said, now, just tell me now, up and down, everything okay for me coming down? Oh, yes, please, that's why I called you. I wanted to know if you're coming to see me. And I said, oh, yes, of course I am. And we chatted about different things, and there was such a connection. And she said, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And she was very, very pleasant when I arrived. She was absolutely on top of the world. And something crept into her mind that day, I'm sure. And I think it's still there. I don't know. But she knows I won't be cross with her. She knows that I'm here, and well, I won't be here for the next 10, 11 days. I do hope my trip's going to be all right. Very concerned about things these days. Not so much about things. I don't know. I find wherever you go is, if you carry something in your heart and in your mind, it doesn't leave you. It doesn't matter where you are. Perhaps it leaves you briefly, but not really. I really miss her. I do. I'm sure she misses me too in some elements of her life. I'm sure she would like to talk. I'm sure she would like to see me. But I'm quite sure there's something to do with this lettuce. And I'm rather concerned. I can no longer opt for salad. I do love a cold meat salad when we're out for lunch. Perhaps I'll have to eat something different.